The Cursed Violin. Alexander was an impeccable violin player. He was known as the greatest violin player of his time. Francisca was a beautiful girl who was madly in love with Alexander, so she had gifted him a violin with the letter A engraved. Alexander regarded that violin as his lucky charm. One day, Francisca drowned in the river and died. After her death, Alexander became very depressed and lonely. So, on April 13th, 1969, he hung himself to death. Ten years later, on April 13th, 1979, Michael stumbled upon a violin in a second-hand shop. Michael held a special bias for classical music instruments, so he promptly purchased the violin and took it home. The previous owner of this violin must be someone with the name A, he said to himself as he felt the engraved initial. The moment he brought the violin, his dog wouldn't stop barking.
"Ben, keep quiet!"
he yelled as he unpacked the violin from his bag. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. He got up and opened the door to find no one. But he did feel a cold breeze of air across his body. "That's strange," Michael said as he went inside. Looking at Ben barking continuously, Michael thought he was hungry and put some food on his bowl. The dog sniffed the food, but didn't eat it at all. Instead, it kept looking at the door and barked. Michael didn't give it much notice, as he was really excited to play the violin. He brought his musical notes from upstairs and slowly caressed the strings of the violin. All of a sudden, he heard something drop in the kitchen. The plates from the cabinet had fallen on their own. Michael thought that it must be the wind, as the kitchen window was also open. So he closed the window and went back to play the violin. As he started playing it, Ben started barking aggressively. "What's up, Ben? Don't you like me playing the violin?" Michael uttered. In a flash, the lights in the kitchen started flickering, and there was a loud hit on the window. Michael rushed to the kitchen and found out that the window was broken. It seemed as though someone had hit the window with a stone. He went outside to check, but there was nothing outside. Michael didn't know what was happening. He came inside to find his beloved Ben dead and washed in blood. Michael started crying awfully and got extremely scared. He was now heartbroken and certain that his life was about to be in danger. He carried his dog and tried to take him to the vet, but the door wouldn't open. It seemed as though someone had locked it from outside.
"Who is it? Open the door, please!"
He yelled for help. Suddenly the light went and he felt like someone pushed him. He managed to get up, but when he opened his eyes, he was on top of a huge cliff. Everything was dark around him, except the luminosity from the moon. All of a sudden, he heard someone playing the violin. As he tried to follow the music, the moonlight reflected upon his own self, playing the violin next to a black shadow. Unsure about what was happening, someone suddenly pushed him down the cliff. Ten years later, on April 13th, 1989, Beck stumbled upon the same violin with the letter A engraved. It seemed like history was planning to repeat itself when Beck purchased the violin and took it home.